Hello, Namaste, and Konnichiwa to ladies and gentlemen. I'm Anta Thapa, and it is my honor to be moderator here today. I'm delighted to welcome you everyone in the first Sakura Science Club Nepal Alumni meeting with the theme of promotion of friendship between Nepal and Japan. The relationship of Nepal and Japan is marked by friendliness, goodwill, and cooperation since very long ago. These two countries are partners in different aspects of development, in which education sector is one. Japan's Science and Technology Agency, JSC, has been organizing Sakura Science Exchange Program, SSP, with the aim of sharing knowledge on the field of science and technology among different nations. Nepal is one of those lucky nations. The number of students who already participated in the Sakura Science Exchange Program exceeds 300, with the aim of uniting this large number of Sakura Science Club members from Nepal. Sakura Science Club Nepal SSCN was created recently, and this is the first SSCN alumni meeting with the theme of promotion of friendship between Nepal and Japan. On the behalf of Sakura Science Club Nepal, I, Anita Thapa, would like to welcome the guest speakers, representatives from Japan Science and Technology Agency, JST, coordinators and members of Sakura Science Club Nepal, SSCN, and all the participants who are virtually present here today. Before starting the webinar, I would like to explain the agenda today. We are pleased to have speeches from honorable guests and the keynote session from guest speakers. Later, we will have a short photo session and then sharing experience session of SSCN members. Finally, there will be a sharing session by representatives from Japan Student Services Organization, JASSO, regarding this story and work in Japan. And each keynote and experience sharing session will have a short time for a QA, that is questionnaire. So please feel free to type your questions and opinion in the QA box. Your opinions are significant to us. A QA box is at the end of the bottom next to the chat box, and we may not answer all the questions, but we will try to answer all the questions. And without further delay, let us hear from Dr. Teru Kisi, Director General, Sakura Science Program SQJST, to deliver opening speech. Dr. Teru Kisi, the virtual floor is yours, and I request all the other participants to turn off your video and microphone. Dr. Teru Kisi.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kishi Teruo, and let me welcome you on behalf of JST. I'd like to express my deep appreciation to all of you for attending today's meeting. As you know, the Sakura Science Program was started in 2014 to invite talented young human resources for short-time visit to Japan. Around 33,000 people from various countries have already participated in the program and are now members of our Alumni Association, that is the Sakura Science Club, or SSC. Around 270 people are part of Nepal's own Sakura Science Club, SNCN. JST is very happy to support these individual alumni associations. And on this occasion, we are pleased to announce that Mr. Sman Doom Shrestha has been selected as the president of SNCN by 11 coordinators. I hope Mr. Shrestha can lead an active association that encourages strong bonds among its members and to Japan. This year, 2022, marks the 120th anniversary of the first student coming from Nepal to Japan in 1902. This alumni meetings is held as one of the events to commemorate the 120th anniversary, supported by Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It is heartwarming to think that the legacy of those first students 120 years ago is being reflected today in the Sakura Science program. So I believe this is a very appropriate time for the SSCN to hold its first alumni meeting. I hope being involved in the SSCN inspires you and maybe opens up new and exciting paths for your future life and career. JST will do our best to continue supporting the Sakura Science Club. So please stay connected with us and Japan. Once again, welcome to the meeting, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Toriu Kisi. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Sumandun Sres, main coordinator of SSCN, to deliver his opening remarks. Mr. Sumandun Sres, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Anita-san. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Please allow me to share my screen. Can you see my screen as well?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning from Nepal. Namaste and also konnichiwa. Myself, Sumandun Srestha. I'm the president or the main coordinator of Sakura Science Club Nepal. It's the first to be established. And now I would like to welcome you all on behalf of the Sakura Science Club Nepal team. And with this presentation, I would like to just quickly share about how we started and how we are formed now. And this is started back in I think 2018 April. Here it is there in April. So we started with first email to just randomly to GSTEC or JST asking if there is any Sakura Science Club in Nepal. And at that time, Sakai-san or Sakai Soko-san was the first contact. We started in this way. And then we have this first meeting with the JST official, Mr. Yuji-san. And he guided us a lot how to start, what are the procedures of JST, how can we formally start this Sakura Science Club Alumni Association. So yeah, around October, we had a meeting, and at that time, Miss Reni and Miss Resna, they were in contact. And so with a few people, we started the communication. And we also started one Facebook page. It is Sakura Science Club Nepal. It is our own initiation. And from that, we also try to reach other people, other friends who have been to Japan from the Sakura program. And as a result, we received few responses. Like one example, there was even Srisha Paudial, who is presenting today. as a Sakura alumni, she write an email. So there were a few emails at that time, but again, we could not directly decide on how we start. We helped, or we started to share the information, but we have to follow the JST rule. So anyway, it was a good start, I think, to reach out the Sakura alumni. And finally, in January 2022, that is 26 January, we were able to form this first coordinators committee of the Sakura Science Club Nepal. And there was like a request of interest from all the alumni to be the coordinator or other roles in the coordinators committee. And so simultaneously there were responses, and with the help of JST officials like Sori-san, Yuji-san, Kuroki-san, Azuma-san, and others, we were able to have this first coordinators meeting, and the committee was formed. And just I would like to acknowledge the coordinators committee members. So at first, so there is a president or the main coordinator, as said by JST, myself, Suman is here, and then we have so for different coordinators, we try to give a role, like a different role, so we can engage each other very effectively. Like Miss Ruchisa, she is here as a communication coordinator, and Anita, finance coordinator, documentation, Resna Bajrachari, and public relation coordinator, Pavitra Bandari, Miss Pavitra Bandari, service project coordinator, Miss Reni Raj Bandari, and Dr. Narayan Gaire as a member, and Dr. Kailas Timalsina, Miss Srisha Paudel, Miss Rohita Gochan Thakali, Mr. Haris Paneru, and Mr. Milan Kumar Rai. I would like to also congratulate and acknowledge all of them. Because of this team, we are now able to move ahead. And the thing was, important thing was that JST allowed us to decide upon how we plan the activities, and how we choose the coordinator, and how we give the different roles. So also thankful to JST. And so this is our first in-person meeting that held just last week in April 8th. So most of us are residing in different parts of the country. I think around 50% are in Kathmandu, and some are in Pokhara, like Kailas sir is in Gandaki University, and some are in Chitwan. So we managed to meet at least few of us, at least not all. So, but this 8th April, it has some significant meaning, because how we are now organizing is we are organizing the monthly meeting, like every first Sunday of English month, like January 1st Sunday, February 1st Sunday, and in the evening time, we all decided to have a regular meeting. And so from now, in the next meeting, we also plan to invite coordinator, at least one coordinator from another country, like Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, or India, so that we also have more sharing among ourselves, more sharing among the Sakura alumni across the region or across the globe. And that is one thing. And so for this particular alumni meeting, we had a series of meetings with the JST and GSTEC and Sakura Science Japan team. So at least 4, 5, 6 meetings we had, and we are on behalf of the Sakura Science Club Nepal, we are very thankful for the JST, GSTEC, and Sakura Science program officials that they have guided us very well, and also they give very enough time to us. Like even in the evening, we normally have the meetings in the late afternoon of Nepal, and they are quite late night in Japan, but still they don't hesitate, and they are equally participating and supporting us to plan the activities. And so this is a brief of my sharing. And in the end, I would like to again say thank you to all the JST, GSTEC, and SSC Japan, Sakura Science Japan, for allowing and also supporting us to form the Sakura Science Alumni Club in Nepal, and also to all the coordinators, and also to all the Sakura Science alumni members who are here in this meeting. I think all of us has a important role to take forward the Sakura information and the Sakura banner to the wider audience and wider region. And also ultimately we with all our participations and effort, we plan to strengthen the friendly relationship between Japan and Nepal. Thank you very much once again, and I would like to end my speech here. Thank you. Anita-san, now
Yes.
I give it back to you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Suman-san. Now I will move to the next session, that is a guest speech. First of all, I would like to invite His Excellency Yutaka Kikuta, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Japan to Nepal. His Excellency Yutaka Kikuta, the time is yours.
Mr. Ambika JOSHI, Chargé d'Affaires, the Embassy of Nepal in Tokyo, Dr. Tero Kishin, Director General of Sakura Science Program Headquarters, JST, Mr. Suman Shrestha, newly elected President of the Sakura Science Club Nepal, all alumni members of the Sakura Science Club Nepal, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Namaskar. I'm Kikuta Yutaka, Ambassador of Japan to Nepal. It is my great pleasure to congratulate the very first alumni meeting of Sakura Science Club Nepal. I remember that in New Delhi, when I was deputy head of mission there, I attended the send-off ceremony of the first batch of Indian Sakura Science students of the year to Japan. I'm aware Sakura Science Club members in some countries have already established their alumni organizations respectively. Therefore, it gives me all the more happiness as ambassador to Nepal to witness the launching of the Sakura Science Club Nepal today. Since 2014, Sakura Science Program has been providing 270 young Nepali scientists, which include high school, university, and postgraduate students and young researchers with valuable opportunities to experience advanced and innovative science and technology of Japan. As you know, this year, 2022, marks 120th anniversary since the government of Nepal dispatched their first international student to Japan for their study. Among them, 4 out of 8 students were assigned to study science and technology, including engineering, chemistry, and ammunition technology in particular. We can read that Nepali government at that time too believed that knowledge of science and technology were crucial for the development and modernization of Nepal. Later, in 1967, Crown Prince Virendra Vir Bikram Shah was a student at the Tokyo University and was given sakura, Japanese cherry trees, from the people of Atami City, a famous hot spring resort near Tokyo. In return, His Royal Highness sent Himalayan sakura to Atami. Now Japanese people enjoy the beauty of Himalayan sakura blossoms in Atami every year. Now, after 120 years from the first aid, I am delighted to hear a student studied in Japan is now working as an engineer for Sindri Road Project, one of the flagship projects of Nepal, supported by Japan. As the fruits of study and hard working in Japan, many Nepali students have brought back the knowledge and been contributing to the development of Nepal. I strongly believe that Sakura Science Program will continue to give the first opportunity to young Nepali people to turn their eyes to studying in Japan. The program can cast a seed of motivation to young scientists. In addition, one of the most precious aspects of the Sakura Science Program is that it provides opportunity for Nepali students to communicate with the Japanese students and researchers and experience Japan's culture. I am confident that experience different culture in young age must widen their horizon and open their windows toward the world. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19 pandemic, the JST had to manage some online events instead of inviting young scientists to Japan for the last couple of years. However, to maximize the merit of this program, I truly wish recovery from COVID-19 will allow us to send students to Japan in not so far future. The long-standing bilateral relationship between Nepal and Japan has always been founded on mutual understanding, which is coming from active people-to-people exchange. I hope the young Nepali scientists who are Sakura Science Program alumni will be the bridges in next generations between Nepal and Japan, becoming the symbol of a friendship just like the Himalayan sakura in Atami. Thank you very much.
Thank you, His Excellency Yutaka Kikuta, for your speech and presence. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. Ambika JOSHI, Charge Affairs at the Embassy of Nepal in Tokyo. Mr. Ambika JOSHI, the screen is yours.
Thank you. His Excellency Yutaka Kikuta, Ambassador of Japan to Nepal. Mr. Jaya Prasad Acharya, Undersecretary from the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology of Nepal. Dr. Terio Kishi, Director General, Sakura Science Program. Mr. Sumandun Srisha, newly elected President, Main Coordinator of Sakura Science Club Nepal. Guest speakers, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste, konnichiwa. It is my great pleasure to join this first Sakura Science Club Nepal alumni meeting and share a few words with you all. Let me express my hearty congratulations to the members of Sakura Science Club Nepal for establishing the first alumni. I wish the alumni all success in its mission. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Japan Science and Technology Agency for inviting me to this webinar. Sakura Science Program is an important platform to exchange knowledge, experience, skills, and ideas among students and scholars from various backgrounds across the countries. Young school students to university graduates, to scholars and academicians have been benefited from this program. I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to the JST for providing opportunity to Nepali young minds, students and scholars to participate in the program. The program helps expand and strengthen networks among students and scholars across the world. Similarly, it offers the participants an opportunity to have first-hand experience of modern technology and various other aspects of Japan. Needless to say, there is much to learn from Japanese technology, culture, and behavior in order to have overall and sustainable development of a country like ours. It gives me pleasure to mention here that Japan is one of the most important and trusted development partners of Nepal. Long-standing relations between Nepal and Japan are marked by cordiality, trust, and cooperation. Peoples of both countries have immense goodwill towards each other. Our relations are multidimensional, not limited to only politics and economy. We share common values and culture, basically based on Buddhism and other common values, social values. We have close people-to-people contacts. It gives me pleasure again to mention that the population of Nepali population in Japan is the 6th largest foreign population here. And the number is close to 100,000. And greater engagements at various levels are on the rise. I'm confident that the alumni of Sakura Science Club Nepal will contribute to further promoting our engagements and consolidating the friendship between our two countries and peoples. I'm also hopeful that members of the alumni will fully utilize their contacts, experience, knowledge, skills, and ideas acquired through Sakura Science program to the benefits of Nepal and Nepali people. The year 2022 marks the 120th anniversary of student exchanges between Nepal and Japan. As earlier mentioned by Ambassador Kikuta, in 1902, the government of Nepal first dispatched Nepali students to Japan for further studies, higher studies. Increasing number of participants from Nepal to Sakura Science program can be one good way to celebrate this anniversary. Engagements at the level of younger generations are critically important for sustainable and long-term friendship between the countries. The Embassy of Nepal in Tokyo is always ready to extend all possible support to the activities of the alumni that promotes friendship between Nepal and Japan and serve the interest of Nepal and Nepali people. Once again, I congratulate the newly established alumni and extend my best wishes for the grand success of today's program. Long live Nepal-Japan relations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ambika JOSHI, for your speech and time. And now it's time to invite Mr. Jaya Prasad Acharya, the Undersecretary of the Department, Assistant Coordination Section of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in Nepal. Mr. Jaya Prasad Acharya, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you. Namaskar and good morning. It's my great pleasure to have this opportunity to take part in the virtual program. I'd like to express my great thanks for the organizer and to all the distinguished guests to provide me this opportunity. Of course, as earlier shared, our young students have got a great opportunity to take part in the process of knowledge sharing, cultural exchange, and research-related activities as well. I have met some of the students regarding the benefit of this forum. They shared that it is one of the very good platform that can help to learn more from Japan. When Japanese students can also learn many things from Nepal as well. So at this moment, because of COVID pandemic, we could not be able to organize in-person meeting. Though in the coming days, we'll certainly able to organize or continued this sort of program. And in the days to come, certainly our young students, researchers, professionals will be benefited. And from the Japanese side, in education sector, there are many activities in place. Let's say in school education sector, Japan is one of the trusted partner that is contributing to support, especially in the capacity development of school level planning and curriculum and curricular related activities reform and other activities as well. So I hope this sort of activities will be continued and our students will be benefited. Thank you for providing me an opportunity to take part in the program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jaya Prasad Acharya. Now let us start our next session, the keynote session. After the presentation, we will have Q&A session. So please write down your questions using the Q&A feature of the Zoom, which is next to the chat box. Let me introduce our first keynote speaker, Dr. Maharjan Lal, professor from Graduate School of Humanities and Social Sciences, the Hiroshima University. Dr. Maharjan Keshav, the virtual floor is yours. Dr. Maharjan, and I request Jaya sir to.
Yes, what do I do? Do I share my slides by myself or are you going to share it?
Would you please start the slide at your side if possible? If it's
Okay.
better for us.
I'll start that.
Please, is it possible?
Yes. Hold on.
Thank you very much.
Okay, can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for inviting me to be the keynote speaker for this special occasion of Sakura Science Club Nepal exchange program. Basically, I was told that to give a note speech on what I have been doing so as it may perhaps, in a way, get some information or some consideration for those people who are going to be the builders of nation in the future. So I have titled my presentation, my speech as Know Yourself, Set the Purpose, the Goal Will Not Run Away. And so I think I don't have to introduce myself as it has been already said. So going straight to the speech, Know Yourself, I was told that in this Sakura Science Club, there are many high school students, and from high school students to the university professionals. So I thought my speech would be better if it is based more for the high school students and young university students. So I have based my speech mostly for high school and university students. So when I say know yourself, during the high school days, first I thought what I was. Let me tell you that in my high school days and yet today, I'm not a bookworm, but I have a habit of regular reading from my school days, and I never missed homework. So regularity was a point there. Regularity was a point there. And then what I liked. As a subjects, I liked mathematics, science, geography, English, and so on. And I liked and I still like interacting with people, traveling and learning new things. Social science was the art of speaking and writing. Nepali subject introduced me to the literates like Guru Prasad Mainali, Vijay Bahadur Malla Gothale, Surya Bikram Gewali, and so on. So I got myself educated in the literature of Nepal. Then Ranilal Singh impressed me with the prose selection. That was the English book for SLC during my days. And I kept on reading these books. And the issue here is consistency and consolidation. I was consistent in what I wanted and what I liked, and I consolidated them. Soon after SLC exams, I went to Calcutta and homestayed with a family, a Sikh family, for 3 months. As you might have known that, and perhaps even these days, though in those days, we used to have 3 months vacation after the SLC exams till the result was out. And this stay in Calcutta with a Sikh family was an exploration for me every day. It was a challenge and it widened my horizon very well. After passing SLC exams, I was not the board first student. I was just one of the students in the first division. I joined ASCL, that is Alumni Science College. And I'm always fascinated by nature, people, and places. So imagination was the issue for me. And when I was joining ASCL, I was in late teen. I was very energetic, perhaps, like most of you young students these days, the college students. Interaction, dynamism, and new learnings was every day happening for me. During my second year in ASCL, I got the information of Colombo Plan Scholarship. And I was trying for that and trying to get a seat in Calcutta University Medical School. That was a big challenge, of course. And perhaps everybody knows that. To go to a medical college in India is a big challenge. And of course, it has to go through the Indian embassy. And I was processing my documents there. In the meantime, I also met with the Japanese government scholarship. It was in the newspaper, The Rising Nepal. There was a public call. And this is again another challenge. And it was also for me to know about the Japanese government scholarship in the newspaper was widening my eyes. And I thought it would make me more dynamic. So dynamism is an issue here. However, the Japanese government scholarship call was for not medical science, but it was for animal science. So there's a discord of choice between medical science and animal science. And also there's a discord of interest between my family and myself. My family wanted me to be a medical doctor and they had insisted that I apply for Colombo Plan Scholarship and go to Calcutta University Medical School. Whereas I was not so much interested perhaps because nature and people and places fascinates me more. And there was a discord of interest between my family and myself. My family never wanted me to go to Japan till the last day that I got the visa. And of course, it was also an internal conflict to me. It was a tough time, but I thought of self-realization. I broadened my imagination. I transformed my mindset from medical science to animal science, and it was a turning point. In everybody's life, I believe there will be turning points now and then, and some of them are very important, and this was one of the turning point at that time. I didn't know that it was for good or bad, but it was indeed a turning point. So know yourself again in the early days in Japan. Soon after I went to Japan, getting the Japanese government scholarship from the Mombusho. It is called Mombusho Scholarship. Now it is MEX Scholarship. I was admitted to a Japanese school under the University of Foreign Language Studies, Tokyo Foreign Language Studies. It was a Japanese school for foreign students who was going to get entrance into Japanese universities through those who get the Japanese government scholarship. And there we got a booklet that guided us how to live and study in Japan. It was called Life and Study in Japan. And it was everyday challenge and new learnings. The Japanese language was entirely new to me, and the Japanese letters called kanji was just a bit of arts for me. It was not an alphabet. It was like insects for me. So it was very tough. But I was fascinated with people, sophisticated culture, and very sophisticated society. And as I said earlier, I like to meet with the people, talk with the people, interact. So this helped me. Some of my colleagues from other countries said that it is not life and study in Japan, but study and study in Japan. But I enjoyed life and study in Japan during my early days, from the very beginning of my days in Japan. I enjoyed what I liked always, that is interacting with the Japanese people and international people, traveling and learning new things. I was also participating in Japanese speech contests and debates, and extracurricular activities was something that I admired to stress off myself from the daily learning in Japanese and the kanjis. That's from after staying there for about 10 months in the Japanese school, we had to go to the university. And for that, we had to attend the university entrance exams of our intended university. But then the university entrance exams were not easy. When I got the scholarship, I was told that if I do not pass the Japanese language school and the university entrance exams, I would have to go back to Nepal after 1 year of study, and I wouldn't be able to enter the university. So this was also another tough time I had, and there was intense internal self-conflict again, whether to stay in Japan and continue my further studies in the Japanese university or return to Nepal and listen to my parents and my family, what they say, and pursue as one of the family members. By the way, I'm the eldest son in my family, so according to our Nepali society, eldest son had many responsibilities in the family. So I was sort of having a lot of internal conflict. Then I thought what I did in Japan for the 1 year, I tried to consolidate them and fortify and prepare for myself for the entrance exams. So that was the period of consolidation and fortification of what I have learned in Japan. I went for the entrance exam in Kyoto University, but I was not admitted to the Department of Animal Science, but I was admitted to the Department of Agriculture Economics. So my field changed from biological or geological science to agriculture economics. That's more of a social science. This was again a turning point, but I took it as a dynamism and versatility, that I did not just keep on saying animal science, which I like because of the wildlife interest that I had, but I went for agriculture economics. Now, my early days in Kyoto University is a very free university. Nobody tells you anything, what to do and what not to do. It's all your needs, all your wants, all you do, unlimited choice, self-responsibility. You have to have a learning mind. You can widen your horizons, interactions, networking, and new learnings was everyday happenings. So self-restraint or self-control was also the part of the game. If you could not self-restrain, then you would be lost in the wide horizon. So what I did was combination of likes and needs. What I like, as I say, I like interacting with the people, I like nature, I like public, I like societies, right? Then what are the needs? That needs is that if I have to study in Japan, then I need to learn things. And also if I want to pass and get the BSc degree, then I need to make a BSc thesis research by making a survey in the farm economy, farm setting. Then this combination of likes and needs became an engine for my regularity, consistency, continuity, and consolidation. So likes, as I said, traveling to the countryside, landscape, and talking to people. Needs, farm survey, analysis of daily records and bookkeeping, and interview survey of the farmers, learning local dialect, culture, and so on. And as a result, with the fortification, I produced BSc thesis research and BSc thesis that is on the issue of farm economy of integrated of rice and dairy farming. Nowadays, you call it also part of like recycling, reusing, and things like that. Then what I did was the byproducts of rice farming to be used in dairy farming, and byproducts of dairy farming to be used in rice production, and how the farm economy can be improved. Thereafter, I went for the master's degree in Kyoto University itself, and the fortification in my master's thesis research was impact of land consolidation on farm returns and land price formation. This gave me some basic idea of how land economy works in Japan. So learning about the Japanese farm economy and land economy, I decided to divert my topics in my PhD from Japanese farm and land economy issues to developing countries issues. And I found that Bangladesh had a good project of irrigation drainage systems. So I did my PhD on the Bangladesh issue, that's impact of irrigation and drainage schemes and economic activities and rural development in Bangladesh. After doing my PhD, when I was coming for the so-called Mahendra Vidyabhushan, yes, it was Mahendra Vidyabhushan, awarded by King Birendra then. And after that, in the party, Geza Prasad Koirala was the prime minister, and he asked me, why did you do research in Bangladesh and not in Nepal? My answer was, if I do research in Bangladesh, which was in a severe bad agricultural economy then, I would be able to apply this learning to any of the countries in the world. I did so. So from the Japanese issues to global issues, that's how I went on. Okay, so this was my purpose. And not just learning about the Japanese issues, but applying what I learned in Japan to the developing countries and to Nepal as well. So from Japanese issues to global issues, then global thinking, local acting. We call it nowadays global, is very important then and even today with this mass IT technology and information development. We still have to think locally, think globally and act locally according to the needs of the local people. So all the research efforts were based on practical issues were in the society. So problem-based learning was the base for my research. All the analysis, discussions, and conclusions and implications were evidence-based. Since I had learned to do my research on the basis of problem-based learning, my analysis were always evidence-based. It was never just the collection of what somebody said in newspapers or some articles and so on. I always had the data, and the data evidence, and then discussions, conclusions, and implications were made. So applications of learning in Japan and consolidated research in Bangladesh were applied in the issues of Nepal, South Asia, and beyond. So thereafter, so with the knowing myself and setting the goal, setting the target, the goal did not run away. So from the public call at Hiroshima University, and I joined Hiroshima University in 1990. So I've been teaching there for more than 30 years, 32 years now. And my basic result is on research on agriculture and rural development. And I have hundreds of journal articles and research reports, maybe Earlier, I was already introduced by the MC of this program today. I have dozens of book chapters and dozens of books written, and I've trained and awarded PhD for some 30 students. Many of them are Nepali students. And students have become experts and professionals. Some of them are professors by themselves. Some have become also the secretaries in different countries. And some of them are leading NGOs, international NGOs and local NGOs. So I remain faithful to my job, that is profession of teaching in the university. And that's what makes me engage in the society and contribute to the people's society and the earth. So my message or the takeaway points is regularity, consistency, consolidation, and exploration. Challenge, widen horizon, dynamism, versatility, and fortification. Practicality, problem-based learning, combination of likes and needs, logical thinking, evidence-based analysis, global thinking and local acting, mindset transformation, sociological imagination. Let me explore a bit about mindset transformation and sociological imagination. Mindset transformation means you should get rid of all the biases that you have in your mind or the society makes you think about and builds the bias. In our society in Nepal, unfortunately, we still have a biased society to many people, many groups of social groups like jatis and caste and so on, and haves and have-nots and so on. So these kind of things should be, with the social imagination, we should change the mindset. And I call that as mindset transformation, to get rid of the biases, any biases that one has. With that, I end my keynote speech. Thank you very much. Do I take some questions now or I just leave? Is somebody responding?
Everybody in the audience, are there any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Maharjan for your speech. I think we have got no question in the Q&A box. So now I would like to invite Kundan Lal Shrestha, Associate Professor, Department of Environmental Science and Engineering at Kathmandu University, for another keynote session. And since after is a keynote speaker, we have a short time allotted for Q&A session, so feel free to drop your queries in the Q&A box. Dr. Kundan, the screen is yours.
Keynote is by Professor Rijan, I think, no?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes, yes.
Please wait one moment, please, Dr. Kundan. We will go back to Dr. Rijan.
Okay, namaste. First of all, I would like to thank Sakura Science Club Nepal Alumni meeting for giving me this opportunity to say something about my memories and experiences of studies in Japan. My name is Rijan a professor and head of the Department of Environment Science and Engineering. And also I am heading as a coordinator the Himalayan Cryosphere Climate and Disaster Research Center at Kathmandu University, Nepal. So before saying my memories, I will give you my brief academic and job background. I have done my master in MS in Science, Master of Science in Glaciology from 1992 to 1994, and then Doctor of Science in Glaciology from 1998 to 2001. So I graduated Doctor of Science in 2001. And after graduating the Doctor of Science, I got an opportunity to receive this JSPS postdoc fellow in the same university, Nagoya University, in the same topic, glaciology, from 2001 to 2003. Then I also got another opportunity at Max Planck Institute for Biogeochemistry in Germany as a Max Planck foreign postdoc from 2003 to 2005. And in between these, there is a one gap from 1994 to 1997. At the time, I have worked as the glaciologist first and then hydrologist at Department of Hydrology and Meteorology, Government of Nepal from 1994 to 1997, immediately after returning from Nagoya University, Japan to Nepal. And now currently I'm at Kathmandu University. I joined Kathmandu University in September 2016 as an assistant professor in the Department of Environmental Science and Engineering. And from October 2013 to March 2022 as an associate professor, and recently I became a professor from March 21st. So now I will briefly explain about my experiences and memories of Nagoya University, Nagoya, which is in Aichi Prefecture in Japan. So this main building is Toyota Kodo here, and this surrounding is the Nagoya University building. And this is our institute building, what we call as a Seppyuken or Suiken. And this is our very famous international residence at Nagoya University. In 1991, when I visited there, I stayed there. And in the second time also, few months I stayed here, and then I moved to the local, how to say, it's a private apartments in nearby at Chikusaku. So regarding my memories and tips, the first, when I was in Japan, Nagoya University in 1992, I was with another female student. Only we two went there at the time. We felt very much homesickness, and that is mainly due to the communication difficulty. At the time, like now, we don't have any mobiles and social medias like Facebook and others. So we have to use this conventional telephone with a card or coins, and that is also available only at certain places. And then after arriving at Nagoya University, we found that we were very alone and our group is very small. We were only two at Nagoya University, and then gradually the other Nepali students also entered in Nagoya University. Then our number also increases. And outside Nagoya University also, we found very few Nepalese to whom we can have formal and informal chats. Okay, so with that, we felt at the time very much homesickness. But for nowadays, I think if other students go there, they will not feel homesickness, because nowadays we have a very good IT communications, social media, so we can have a very live communications directly like this now we are having through the Zoom. And the second memories or issues, I think the related are with the Japanese language and culture related things, which I felt when I was in Nagoya University. Japanese language studied beforehand. So once my going to Nagoya University is fixed, I have learned Japanese language, and that was instructed by my professor, who has already suggested me to learn Japanese before going to Japan. That will help a lot. Actually, that has helped a lot also. I studied about 3 months Japanese language at Kathmandu. Then it was helped a lot. And I was also lucky that I've already met a Japanese professor and went with them to Langtang, because my field is glaciology, study of glacier and glacial lakes, as well as the snow in the mountains. So I went to Langtang. It's around 60 kilometers north of Kathmandu city, where we can find lots of glacier. At the time now, the glacier are shrinking very shrinking very small. But anyway, still we have some few glaciers there. So I was very lucky that how to treat with the Japanese professors and how to learn with them lots about the daily necessities and the other things through the Japanese professor team at the time. And knowledge about ofuro and onsen also I got beforehand, because I had a very good opportunity to interact with those professors, and they informed me gradually these things also. And after going to Nagoya University, what I found is very interesting that there was one restaurant that where we have to pay the lunch fee by ourselves, and suppose at the time 300 or 250 like that yen for one lunch. Then if we have 500 coins or the 1,000 yens note, then we have to take the change by ourselves. So I was also amazed with that culture, which I found inside Nagoya University. And good to have Japanese friends to know. I want to inform the new students that good to have Japanese friends to know and enjoy the Japanese culture and different festivals. Because at the time, but still I think there are such traditions that when the foreign students arrived at Nagoya University, the nearby the different clubs and societies invite the foreign students to interact with foreign students and to know their cultures and other behaviors, as well as to teach them, especially for the foreign student, to teach them the Japanese cultures and different Japanese festivals in and around Nagoya, as well as in different cities. I found the same was happening in other different Hokkaido, Kyoto, and Osaka city students also. So I think the students should participate such get-togethers with local Japanese clubs and teams, so that we can have a very good friends with them, as well as we will know the different Japanese cultures in details, which helped a lot for our Japanese life during our stay in Japan. So I want to say specifically, and I have very good connections with Nakagawa Friends Club at Nagoya, and it was started from 1991, and still we have a very good communication with them. Every time I visit to Nagoya, I met them, and they were also very happy with such activities. And as a useful tips, so I want to say to the Nepalese students, if they are going there, be polite and respect seniors and teachers. Japanese society is very polite. So we have to, I think, to be very careful about the politeness and respecting the others, not only the seniors and teachers, even for the juniors also we have to treat properly. And be social with classmates, teachers, and your neighbors. So of course, classmates and teachers, we have to be maintains the social as well as respectful, but not only with them, with our neighbors also, if you are staying outside the university hostels, and must respect professors and other teachers and use proper terms when we use we communicate with them, because usually in Japan we have to say the name plus sensei, like Yamada sensei, Ageda sensei, and Nakao sensei, like that. So be polite and use proper words when you talk with professor and other teachers, and also when you talk with your friends, Japanese friends or other foreign students, then you have to use the word suppose the Fujita-san, and like that. San is like a Mr. And be punctual, because Japanese are very time conscious and reach before the time. So if you are invited in some programs, be punctual or try to reach there few minutes before. It will be very good, because the Japanese have this tradition since very ancient time. Japanese trains and subways are very punctual, so be on time on those Japanese trains or subways if you are traveling or using them. Because I think you have to use time to time such Japanese trains as well as the subways. Not only that, the Japanese buses are also very on time, except in some other disaster and some sorts of such events. And participate in social gatherings organized by university and other social organization groups or clubs. Like I have said that I was involved in the Nakagawa Friends Club, and still we have a very good relations with them. Every time I visit Nagoya or in Japan, I visit there, and still we are in good connections. So these are the major tips. And so now I will show you some photographs. This photograph was taken in 1992 when we reached there, and so that was here. We can see the dates also. 1992 February 23rd, a group photo of foreign students in a program organized by this was managed by the Kathmandu University's foreign students unit inside the Kathmandu University. I'm here, so at the time I was look like this, and then so I was since I was in contacts with them, we have a very good relations. Then I participated many events with them. So like this left photograph is barbecue photo at Mishugimura, and it's Miyaken within the Nagoya, but we have to go. I think it's Miyaken. Go about 1 hour from the Nagoya city. Chikusaku, we can say, and then we had such barbecue also. And this is another photograph. Here you can see some the fish and different other items we are eating at the times. That was also through the Nakagawa's Friends Club. And here in the down photo, you can see Nessa's Friendship 2002. These photographs were after my visit in 1998. This is my second visit because I went there in 1992, graduated in 94, and then I came back to Nepal and worked 3.5 years at the Department of Hydrology and Meteorology. Then again, I went to Japan in 1998 and for the master. And at the time, this time I have already received the JSPS. Yes, 1992 means JSPS. So we organized the one NESA's, Nepalese Students Association in Japan's friendship get together at Nagoya University International Hall here, and we invited different delegates from the embassy as well as our professors from the universities and the other Nepalese studying and working in Japan at the time in 2002. So we have a very good time at the time. And I also went there in 2016. Then he's my professor, Professor Ageta, and myself here, and Professor Nakao. And now, actually, this Professor Fujita is my classmate. We enrolled in the same year at Nagoya University. This was in 2016. And so when I went there, then at the time, I was with my wife also here, Mamata, and myself here. So then we met this Nakagawa Friends Clubs groups. So we had a get together like this. They were very enjoyed a lot. We also enjoyed a lot after meeting after a long time with them. And regarding I want to say something, my major achievements. So after coming back from Nagoya University, I thought that it would be good to start some master by research program in glaciology at Kathmandu University. Then I started this in September 2011. Through that program, now we have this MS by research in glaciology, in specialization in glacial program also. And through this Master by Research in Glaciology program, we have produced 35 graduates. Out of 35, 29 are Nepali, 2 are Afghani, 3 Pakistani, and 1 Indian. So I also learned how to treat with foreign students. So I have did the same thing what I received during my stay in Nagoya University, and they were also very happy with our treatment when they arrived. Like we have already fixed the rooms for necessities, bed, utensils, some foods, and some cash money immediately after arriving at Kathmandu University. So that also we provided. They were also very happy. And then I also, as I have said before, also I established the Nepal JSPS Alumni Associations in Nepal, and I worked as a founding president from 2015 to 2021. Just last year, I stepped down. Now I am just executive member. So I think we can also involve now. So since you are in the Sakura Science program, so after returning Sakura Science program, you should be involved in these alumni associations, which will be very good for you as well as others. So this is one photograph where we work on the glaciers like this. These are the stations, and this is on Ponkar Glacier in Manang in Nepal. With this, I would like to thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Rijan Bhaktekastha. Since the speech was on video and he's not available here, so we would like to invite Dr. Kundan, Professor from Head of Department of Environmental Science and Engineering, the Kathmandu University, to answer some questions that you have got in the QA box. And Dr. Kundan is also on the same department to that of Dr. Rijan. Dr. Kundan?
Hello, yes.
Hello, there is a question.
Professor Dr. Rijan, he is the head of department. Okay. I'm associate professor.
Okay. Dr. Kundan, there is a question that would you be able to elaborate more on Dr. Rijan's glaciology research trip in Nepal? Is it an international collaborative project?
Okay. So to give you a small background, so Professor Rijan and I'm in the same department, and we're having collaborative projects together as well. So currently he's going in Upper Gorkha region there. So he has gone there for the initial investigation regarding what type of stations, the measurement stations we can have there. So basically this is a glacio-hydrological modeling project. It is not an international one, even though Professor Rijan has had a lot of international projects before, including US, Japan, and other countries. So currently, this is the collaboration with the Nepalese government. So with the Water Resource Research and Development Center of Nepalese government. So this is the initial investigation to see, look at the places there where we can have hydrological and meteorological stations, as well as, let's say, the measurement of glacier melting and so on. Basically, the measurement equipments where we can put, right? So we have to investigate that. So that is the current objective of his field visit.
Thank you, Dr. Kundan, for answering the question. I think there are no more questions. And before moving to the next program, and it is a time for a photo session, we would like to take pictures with our keynote speakers. So I request everyone to turn on your video for a few seconds and be ready for the picture. Also, I would like to request Mr. Suman sir for taking the screenshot. Okay.
Okay, I will take the screenshot.
Okay. Let's check how many. Okay. Are you all ready?
I think we need to wait few.
Okay, let's wait. Please turn on your video. Suman sir?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
5,
1, 2, 3. Smile, please.
Smile.
Thank you. I've taken the photo.
Okay, thank you all for your kind cooperation. Now, I request all of you to turn off your video. Now let's move to the next program, that is experience sharing session from Science SSCN members. We will hear valuable stories of SSCN members. After two speakers' presentation, we will have a QA session. So feel free to ask any questions in the QA box. The first speaker is Ms. Ruchi Saha, coordinator of SSCN. Please welcome Ms. Ruchi Saha. Ms. Ruchi, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Anita Sa. I would like to request Ms. Nozawa to please share presentation on my behalf.
Okay.
So good afternoon, everybody. Namaste and konnichiwa. My name is Ruchi Shah. I'm currently master student at Department of Bioscience and Bioengineering at IIT Roorkee. So my visit to Japan was in year 2018 for my internship at University of Tokyo, which was a UTSIF program. So I did my research project at Department of Integrated Bioscience in Kawamura lab under the guidance of my sensei, Professor Soji Kawamura. So can we move to the next slide, Ms. Nozawa? Okay, so this was my first time away from home in a foreign land all by my own. I was excited as well as nervous. So after landing there, I was received by my tutor and my lab members, and I received a warm welcome from International Liaison Office of University of Tokyo. So during the first few days, we had some orientation program, welcome party, and so there were other programs such as Japanese calligraphy, where we learned various calligraphy techniques and its significance in Japan. And most fun activity was learning Japanese. We had Japanese language classes where we learned basic Japanese together. And so it helped in ease of our communication during our stay in Japan. So the photo here depicts the classes from Japanese classes, campus visit at Hongo, and the city visit to Kamakura. Can we please move to next slide? And these are more few pictures from orientation, calligraphy, and we also attended kabuki play. Yes, let's move to next slide. So during my time there, I had opportunity to move in and around Japan. So I went to places like Asakusa, Odaiba Beach, Mount Nokogiri, and various places. Can we move to next slide? So these are the pictures from my trip to Mount Nokogiri, which is where is the first time I saw sea and mountain together. So it was really an enriching experience. Can we move to next slide? So this is one of a picture collection from my Kamakura trip. Here we had a meditation session with Zen masters and temple visits and visit to Daibutsu statue. So let's move to the next slide. So these are some of my fond memories. So talking about my lab experience, my sensei hosted a welcome dinner for me, and where I could interact with fellow lab members and discuss about our country, cultures, and research interests. So in Japan, I had opportunity to learn in-hand experience of high throughput techniques like QR, PCR, quantitative PCR, Sanger sequencing, equipments like which I have only learned theoretically. So I could use them. And throughout the program was very diverse. There were students from China, Vietnam, US, Canada. So we had the opportunity to interact and make friends through all throughout the world. So without any doubt, the research facility was something I was really impressed. And the way I was supported there during my time, that helped me learn a lot there. So outside my lab experience was also quite good. I made friends from different countries. And one of the most liberating experience was to travel around Japan alone. That was solely because of the great transportation system of Japan, which is very precise and punctual and easy to use. So this was my first time traveling alone. So it was quite a liberating experience. So overall, my experience has really added a dimension to my personality and persona. And this has made me learn new things about other cultures and made me interact with other people. And try different foods from Japan. And soba noodles is one such food that I really miss. So I think this experience has really helped me become the person I am today. So yes, let's move to the next slide. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank JST and also SSC for funding my travel then and providing accommodation jointly with University of Tokyo and providing this platform right now to share my experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ruchisa, for your wonderful experience sharing. Next, we would like to invite Ms. Srisha Paudel, coordinator of SSCN, for her experience sharing. Ms. Srisha, the time is yours. Sorry.
Hi, thank you so much. Konnichiwa, respectable dignitaries, fellow Sakura Science Club and Sakura Science Club Nepal members, and everyone present in today's event. I am Srisha Paudel, a member of Sakura Science Club Nepal. So I got this pleasant opportunity to become a part of GST and Sakura Science Club in August 2019. We were a team of 10 students and one faculty from National College who were hosted by Waseda University, the University of Sacred Heart, Sofia University, and Sokinda University. So the Nepal-Japan Exchange Project is what we call. It is between these 4 universities of Japan and National College Nepal. And this project is funded by JST, and it has 2 phases. So the first one is the spring project, and the second is called the summer project. So in the summer project, a team of Japanese students from these 4 universities, along with their professors, visit Nepal to conduct research on a predetermined topic, and a similar team from National College, guided by the supervisors, assist these Japanese side to carry out the research activities and make them familiar with Nepal and Nepalese culture. So this joint research team visits different cultural and historic places in Kathmandu and also sites outside the valley as well. And in the summer project, the Nepalese side visits Japan, where in turn they are helped by the Japanese side to learn about various cultures and traditions of Japan. The highlight of the visit is the student symposium, where the Japanese and Nepalese side both present their research papers in front of their professors, supervisors, and the university authorities. So while our visit to Japan, we stayed in, like most of the time we stayed in Tokyo, but however, we got a chance to visit a lot of different places, which were very fascinating for us. Like Asakusa Temple, Enoshima Aquarium, Honan Beach, National Astronomical Observatory of Japan, the 4D Dome Theater there, Mori Digital Art Museum, and Disaster Risk Management Center, and Disney Sea were some of the very interesting and fascinating sites that we got to visit during our stay. We got a very closer glimpse of Japan's technological advancement and how much more the world has to learn from Japan. We also got to visit Waseda University and the University of Sacred Heart to attend a few lectures and for the student symposium. So Japan came as an explosion of new culture and lifestyle, which was very new and interesting for us. And at the same time, a few things blew our mind and a few things amazed us to think we fled to the future. So one thing that impressed us the most, and by us, I mean my team members who are present in this event right now as well, was the heated toilet seats with bidet. From big hotels to small restaurants, they have really amazing toilets, which we definitely and fully utilized. And most importantly, I believed all of us learned a great deal of discipline and manner that the Japanese culture and people taught us during that very short trip. I remember one day we were shopping at Don Quixote, and one of my friend left her purse and cards in all of it in a shopping cart, and she left it in some shopping alley. She totally forgot about it, and after we were done shopping, we came back to the hotel. And soon after some time, she realized it, and we all went looking for it. So the purse and everything that she put in the cart was still untouched in that same alley. So if she had done something like that in Nepal itself, I bet she would have she would not have found her belongings back without going through a massive trouble. So I would really like to appreciate Japan and its people for their great deal of discipline and manner. And finally, so whatever we have learned during our exchange program has been the learning of a lifetime. I would really like to thank GST for providing students of Nepal with such great learning opportunities and introducing us to you people and your culture. And I hope that more students from Nepal would get to grab this opportunity so that they can know how amazing and fascinating Japan and its culture is. Thank you. Arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you, Ms. Srisha Podil, for your amazing experience sharing. Now it's time for a Q&A session. I think we have got no questions in the Q&A session, but we have got another question from a panelist. Can you discuss it here? There is a question from
I think we can ask the panelists.
Yeah, there is a question for Dr. Maharjan. The question is that I would like to know about how Dr. Maharjan is involved in research with Nepal, if he has any current research. Dr. Maharjan, can you be on the screen?
It seems Dr. Maharjan, he's attending another online event. So therefore, at this moment, he's not able to come to the screen. Miss Anita,
okay.
sorry for that.
Okay. We'll try to transfer this question to the Dr. Maharjan by mail, and we are going to move to the next session. And this is our final session where we will have sharing session on study and work in Japan by Japan Student Services Organization, JASSO. And let me invite our next speaker, representative from JASSO, Mr. Raymond Tan. Raymond Tan, could you be on the screen? The time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. MC. Thank you for your introduction, Ms. Anita. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Malaysia time is afternoon, and I believe Nepal time also afternoon. Very good day to all of you. And my name is Raymond Tan. I'm from JASSO Malaysia office. And today I'm going to bring you the general information on how you are going to prepare yourself to further study to Japan. So allow me to share the screen, and we are going to talk it about, and we are going to look into details. Okay, I believe everyone can see my screen, and today we are going to talk about the basic information on study in Japan. So first of all, my name is Raymond. Raymond Tan. I'm from an organization called JASSO in short. So today, first of all, I'm going to introduce you what's JASSO about. Okay, JASSO stands for Japan Student Services Organization, and we are actually under the jurisdictions of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology of Japan. We have three main job scope. Number one, scholarship program for Japanese students. Number two, student support program. And number three, support program for international students. And Malaysia, JASSO Malaysia office is actually under this support program for international students. In total, we have 5 overseas offices, mainly in Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, South Korea, and also Vietnam. Okay, and our job scope and our work here is to basically we introduce or we provide further study to Japan information to international students which they would like to pursue their further study to Japan. And also we provide scholarship for those students that's in needs. And also we conduct EJU examination for Japanese University for international, examination for Japanese University admission for international students. In short, we call EJU, and we are going to talk about that later. Okay, so why study in Japan? Why study in Japan should be one of the options. There are a few reasons, and here we are going to talk about 5 reasons that's why study in Japan. Number one, world-class science and technology. I believe every one of you will know Japan is the top world, a country with world-class science and technology. When you talk about Japan, Shinkansen, bullet train, high buildings with earthquake-proof. Okay, so yes, we have world-class science and technology. The second one will be the international environment. Even though you are studying in Japan, but we still have a lot of international all over the world, and you may share your ideas, you may study among yourself, and to broaden your point of view, and also to know more about interculture. And also we have the rich nature and culture. Okay, yeah, you can have a lot of hiking, wonderful food, wonderful sports, wonderful cultural activities throughout the whole year. And number 4, the employment after the higher education in Japan is getting increasing. And this is one of the topics that we are going to talk about it later. And fifth one will be the affordable academic fees compared to others advanced country. For example, we take US as a example. We compare among the University of Japan or Japanese university with the American university. In terms of national or local public university undergraduate program, in Japan, 1 year it will cost you about $4,279 USD, whereas compared to the Americans or national or local public university, it will cost you about $27,000. Whereas for a private university, even though for a private university in Japan, it will cost you about $7,100 USD per year. Whereas if you study that in a US university, it will cost you about $37,270. So it's very reasonable and very affordable if you study in Japan. So if I want to study in Japan, then what should I do next? So we are going to talk about the Japanese higher education and what are the qualifications that you need to have in order for you to proceed into a Japanese higher education. Okay, now first of all, we are going to talk about after your high school. After your high school in Nepal, you are going for an undergraduate program in Japanese university or associate degree program by a short-term university, or you are going to aim for a advanced diploma or a diploma program provided by a professional training colleges or a institution of technologies. In short, we call it COSEN in Japan. So in order for you to proceed into the higher education in Japan, you need at least 12 years of formal education, which means for Nepali students, you have to complete your higher secondary educations, okay, in order for you to proceed through a Japanese higher education after 12 years formal education in your home country. And how to further study to Japan for undergraduate program or diploma? Okay, if you want to do the program by using English, or usually we call it an English track program, it is available only under the university undergraduate program. Okay, and these programs are conducted in English. And how you are going to go for it? Okay, first of all, you have to complete your 12 years formal education. Worldwide known will be A-level, IB, diploma, or for a Nepali students, it may be HSEB. Okay, so these are all the 12-year formal educations. After you have completed the 12-year formal educations, then with good proficiency of English, then you may apply directly to the English track program. Okay, but the perception here is the English track program is limited for undergraduate program. So you have to, because some of the courses may not apply or taught in English, so you may have faced some limitations here. If you want to have a broader options in the selection of schools and also the subjects that you want to take, obviously you have to go for courses offered in Japanese. Okay, so courses offered in Japanese is no longer only under undergraduate program. It will be given under junior colleges, colleges of technology, and also professional training colleges. So you will have more wide range of selections in your school and also your studies. So same thing for the way two. For the first options is you completed your 12-year formal education, your higher educations, your higher secondary in Nepal, and then with good proficiency of Japanese, then you have to sit for the EJU examination first. Then by using the EJU examination result, you proceed to any courses in any higher education institution in Japan offer in Japanese language. Okay, however, for way three are those students that you don't have a Japanese language proficiency. And also, if you don't have your 12-year formal education, you only have year 10, which means you only have SLC. Now for these students, you have to go through a preparatory program. Okay, so here you have two options. If you have completed 12-year formal education, you can select any Japanese language institution in Japan. Whereas if you only have 10 years of your formal educations, then you have to choose number two. You have to go for the preparatory program given by 24 Japanese language institutions. Same thing, after you have completed your Japanese language program, you take EJU examination and you proceed to the Japanese higher educations. Okay, then for master program, what should you do? Master program, you have to complete 16 years of formal, your schooling, which means you have to complete your undergraduate program. And for doctor program, you have to complete your master program in Nepal or in your particular countries. Then this is the way that you have to go through in order for you to proceed to a master program studies or postgraduate studies. Search for university, then you have to find a thesis advisor. This is very important. For Japanese postgraduate program, you have to look out for a thesis advisor. Then you have to contact the thesis advisor and to obtain an informal consent from the thesis advisor. Then you do your applications. according to the application guideline, which is downloadable from the university official website. Then you see for your entrance examination, and regarding the preparation for the entrance examination, you may consult with the thesis advisor. Okay, then you do your enrollment. So very important, find a thesis advisor, contact the thesis advisor, and obtain the informal and obtain an informal consent. It's very important for postgraduate program in Japan. Okay, and this usually takes months. Sometimes it will take months. So you have to be careful with the time frame. Okay. Okay, so for school search, please screenshot. Please scan this QR code. QR code number 1. These are for school search brought to you by Japan Student Support. Number 2, also school search brought to you by Japan College and University Portrait. Number 3 is also school search, but mainly for English track program. Okay, so please screenshot this. Please scan this QR code. Now, next we are going to talk about the Japanese language institution. If you have completed 12 years of formal education, number 1, number 2 QR code, you may scan both of this. But if you have only year 10, please scan only number 2. The number 2 is for those that you only have 10 years formal education, you are not efficient of 12 years, so you have to go through at least a year of preparatory program. Then number 2 is a school for year 10 students. Okay, for year 12 students, both, either one. For year 10 student, only number 2. Okay. Okay, so now next we are going to talk about examination for further study in Japan. First of all, EJU. EJU stands for Examination for Japanese University Admission for International Students. About 91% of the national university adopted EJU examination in their admission process. So it is very important. So what are you going to take in this EJU examination? If you are a science-based student or you want to do science-related studies in Japanese university, you have to take number 1, Japanese as foreign language. Number 2, science. 3 subjects of science, you have to choose 2 based on the university requirement. And number 4, mathematics, additional maths, okay? Additional mathematics or further maths. If you want to do liberal arts, education, social science, economics, then you have to choose number 1, Japan as foreign language, and number 3, Japan and the world. Number 4, mathematics modern. Okay, for details about EJU, please scan this QR code. You may have the details about EJU once you have time to read it in details. Okay, so next, we are going for the schedule. Schedule twice per year. And so the first section will be in June, second section will be in November, and application for June section will be February to March. November section will be, the application will be in July. Okay, but unfortunately, there is no examination sites in Nepal. The nearest, you have to go to New Delhi. Okay, and so in order for you to get preparation on this EJU, number 1, you may get this booklet. In Japan, you can get it in main bookstores. Whereas if you are in Nepal, please consult with Mombusho Scholar Association of India, MOSAI, and you can you can scan this QR code for further information on MOSAI. Okay, they are the EJU overseas representative in India. Okay, next, about syllabus, please screenshot this, please scan this QR code. And for the sample of past year question, please scan this QR code. Thank you. And then we are going to talk about the language proficiency for Japanese language. For graduate school, EJU score, you have to take, at the range about 250 over 400. For undergraduates program, 200 to 250 over 400. And for professional training colleges, 200 over 400. And for another type of Japanese proficiency test, in short, we call it Japanese language proficiency test. In short, we call JLPT, graduate school N1, undergraduates N2 and above, profession training colleges, and 2 and above. But for university requirement, usually instead of JLPT, nowadays EJU is much more preferable or preferable. Okay, for English track program, okay, this is the English proficiency test. You have to take TOEFL, IBT 71 to 80 for undergraduate program, IELTS 5.5 to 6. This is the minimum requirement. Okay, so for the actual requirement, you have to consult directly with the school that provide courses provided in English. Okay, the school that they have English track program. Okay, academic fees and living costs. Okay, because of the time frame, and I will just skip to, for cost of living, please screenshot this QR code. Please scan this QR code. For academic fee, please scan this QR code. Okay, so you will have a brief idea on the cost of living and also academic fees. Okay, for cost of living, in short, is about 743 USD per month. Okay, and school fee, university degree program, junior colleges, colleges of technology, professional training colleges, they have this 4,000 to 25,000 range. So in details, please refer back to the QR code that you have scanned just now. Okay, then we are going to talk about scholarship. Scholarship, we have 2 sets of scholarship. Number 1, scholarship you apply before going to Japan, and you have 4 of them. Number 1, Japanese government Mombukakusho Max Scholarship. This one, please refer to the Embassy of Japan in Nepal, because this is usually applied through the embassy, the recommendation from the embassy. Number 2, reservation program for Mombukakusho Honor Scholarship for privately financed international students. This one, please refer back to the EJU QR code, and you will have the details about these scholarships, because this scholarship is given through the result from the EJU. And so number 3, student exchange support program. This is a scholarship for currently, if you are a Nepali university students, where your university have a cooperation with a particular Japanese university, and the program is granted by this scholarship, then you may apply through your home university in Nepal. Okay, and others local government, private organization scholarship. Other than that, the scholarship that you can apply after the arrival in Japan, you have to refer directly to the university, because these scholarships are all given through the recommendation from the university. And on-campus scholarships, tuition fee exemption, yes, this one you have to refer back to the university of your choice as well. Usually school will provide 30%, 50%, or even 100% school fee discount to international students. You have to refer back to the university of choice of you. For further information on scholarship, please scan this QR code for your further reference. Okay, employment in Japan. Yes, employment in Japan is gradually, the employment for international students after the graduation from Japanese university or Japanese higher education institution is getting increasing. Okay, for those numbers of changing from a student visa into employment visa, the numbers you can tell from this left chart here is increasing every year. Okay, and for details, please scan this QR code for your further reference. If you need further information, kindly scan this QR code for your further information, and you will have information in details, which you can search a school, application deadline, application information, on-campus scholarships, list of preparatory program, list of university preparatory courses, and etc. So this is a very useful website. So please scan this QR code for your further reference. And for your further contact, okay, there are 3 of them. Number 1, you may always contact JASSO Malaysia office. The the official name for JASSO Malaysia office is JASSO, Japan Education Information Center, Kuala Lumpur. You may scan this QR code for further reference, or you may also refer to the Embassy of Japan in Nepal. The QR code is there. And also the University of Tokyo India office, Study in Japan Regional Office in Southwest Asia. These are all the 3 places that you can get further information on to contact them for further information. So these are all the QR codes. You just feel free to scan them. Okay, thank you very much. That's all for my presentations, and I would like to pass my time back to Ms. Anita.
Thank you, Mr. Tan, for your valuable presentation. It's time for the Q&A session, and there is a question from Mr. Pawan Kumar Acharya. He has asked to provide some information about PhD program and scholarship. I'm interested to know about geology stream. Mr. Tan, and the question is this.
Okay, provide some information about PhD program and scholarship. Okay, PhD program scholarships, first of all, you may refer to the MAX scholarship. And as I mentioned just now, you have to refer to the Embassy of Japan in Nepal. Okay, and other than that, you have to refer back to your university of choice. Okay, and referring the information on PhD, yes, you can I believe that you have screenshot the school search program, the school search QR code, and they are actually for the English track program, you can just directly look up for the program that's interested you, and you just contact directly to the school. There is a link there, you contact directly to the school. For Japanese track program, there are 2 QR codes there. You just screenshot them. I believe you have screenshot them already. And you just, they are the search engine. You just key in your keyword geology stream, and then you just click search, and those schools that compile with these keywords will come up as a list, and then you just go to the university into details. And then, as I mentioned just now, very important, you have to look out for the academic advisor in advance before you do any applications. Okay, so I think, I don't know what, I think I have answered your questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Tan. I think there are no more questions. Now it's time to move to the next session, and it's almost at the end of the webinar, and it's time for the closing remarks, and I would like to invite Mr. Shinichi Kuroki from Japan, JST, to deliver the closing remarks. Mr. Kuroki, please be on screen.
Well, thank you, Anita-san, for the role of the moderator of today's webinar. And hello to all participants. I am Shinichi Kuroki of JST, the Japan Science and Technology Agency. Congratulations on the successful ending to today's webinar. I would like to give my sincere thanks to all of you for your participation and mutually beneficial exchange of information. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to His Excellency Mr. Yutaka Kikuta, Ambassador of Japan to Nepal, and Mr. Ambika JOSHI, Charge d'Affaires of the Embassy of Nepal in Tokyo, and Mr. Jaya Prasad Acharya, Under Secretary of Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in Nepal, for their greetings to encourage Sakura Science Club Nepal members. We would also like to thank Professor Dr. Maharjan Keshav of University of Hiroshima, Professor Dr. Rijan Bhakta and Associate Professor Dr. Kundanral Srisha of the Kathmandu University for their sharing valuable experiences and research in Japan. Well, how was today's webinar? Until now, we always have the first Sakura Science Club alumni meeting in some countries face-to-face. But today, we can hold first Sakura Science Club Nepal alumni meeting online instead of in person. This is a breakthrough and wonderful thing for members of Sakura Science Club Nepal. I think that the fact that we can have our online meeting in a situation where Sakura Science Club Nepal members did not necessarily know each other shows your strong feeling for Sakura Science program and Japan. The theme of today's meeting is promotion of friendship between Nepal and Japan. And today's meeting is held to commemorate the 120th anniversary of the first students coming from Nepal to Japan in 1902, already expressed by the Japanese and Nepali ambassadors. I do hope that today's meeting will strengthen the ties between our members and Japan, and also strongly hope that Nepal Alumni Association will actively promote its activities autonomously and voluntarily in the future. JST are always happy to help you anytime to support your activities. Finally, I look forward to seeing you at the Sakura Science Club Nepal event face to face in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kuruki. And now I would like to invite Ms. Sreni Rasbandari for closing remarks from Sakura Science Club Nepal SSCN. Ms. The time is yours.
Thank you so much, Ms. Anita, for providing me this platform. I would like to conclude it by summarizing all the speeches and finally thanking all the dignitaries. Dr. Teruo Kishi, the Director General, has talked about how Nepal and Japan's friendship has fostered over the 100 years, especially when it comes to exchange programs in Japan. And Mr. Sumanthan Shrestha, our president, has explained and acknowledged all the coordinators, and he's beautifully explained how we started, how the seed was sown to start the Sakura Science Club in Nepal. Thank you so much, Suman-san, for it. His Excellency Yutaka Kikuta, Ambassador of Japan to Nepal, splendidly explained how the Himalayan sakura blossoms transported from Nepal to Japan. And he also winded up the conversation by mentioning the road projects, the student exchange programs, the education opportunities, and how young students like me and all of us present here have been able to benefit from the programs in Japan. A speech from Mr. Ambika Joshi, the Chargé d'Affaires in Embassy of Nepal in Tokyo, was very helpful in understanding the relation between Nepal and Japan. We got so much information about how Japan is a trusted partner to Nepal in terms of development, how our cultural values are shared, and how the fact that Nepalese population in Japan as an international citizen is 6th highest. And that was a very eye-opening fact to me as well. Mr. Jaya Prasad Acharya, the Undersecretary of Development Assistance in the Ministry of Education, has also presented about how cultural exchange, research-oriented activities, and knowledge-sharing platforms have been enhanced by programs such as SSC. Programs such as all the exchange programs that Sakura Science Club organizes. Dr. Maharjan Keshav Lal, the professor from Hiroshima University, commenced his speech from a beautiful quotation that reads, "Know yourself, set the purpose, the goal will not run away." The key message here, personally for me, was to explore and embrace all the challenges that come in our life. And he also shared all of the small and big personal experiences that he had, that he battled with to conquer, to get into the position he is now, and how we should fight with all the internal and external conflicts. Then again, Mr. Rijan Bhaktakayastha also showed us a lot of pictures and garnered all the experiences with the pictures and gave us a virtual tour of his life in Japan.
And finally, Ms. Ruchi Shah and Ms. Srisha Paudel's speeches, both of their speeches with the pictures, made us so nostalgic about our visit to Japan. It reminded us about how we got our hand in experiences, about the technologies in Japan, and how it constantly reminded us about we should work for our own country like the Japanese people are working for theirs. Then after, in the study of Japan and work session by the representative of JASSO, we learned about the procedures to go to Japan. I believe that we have a lot of audience sitting with us right here in this chat who would really benefit from this speech of his. Dear dignitaries and the respected participants, thank you so much for your presence. Thank you, JST Sakura Science Club, for helping us visit to Japan. I think that our visit has really widened the horizon of all the expectations we can have from the world. And now we're ready to face the world with all the experiences there. Thank you so much. This experience has been very interesting, even of today, being able to meet such highly respected people from Japan and from Nepal. It has been an honor, actually. I'm also hoping that we'll be able to bring in more people to Sakura Science Club in the future and foster the Nepal and Japan's relationship. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think there is a survey form, right? There is a survey form in the chat box, which we need to fill, and we get certificate after filling this form. And thank you, Ms. Sriniraj Vandari. I think so.
Excuse me, Erika-san, will we get the link automatically after end of the seminar?
Yes, after you exit this webinar, then the survey is coming up on your screen. So please answer.
Miss Anita,
So that
there's problem in our internet.
yes, so then
I think SC is not online now.
so then could you conclude, Mr. Suma?
Yes,
yes,
I
please.
think we can now end and we can leave the program. And as Erika-san said, there will be a survey link. Please fill it up. Thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimasu. And have a nice day, everyone.
Arigatou gozaimasu, everyone. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Goodbye.